It's wonderful to be here. I've lived in North Carolina a long time, but I grew up in Colorado. Also went to U. And thank you all for being here. It's really great to meet many of you and to see again after many years some of my nephews that I hadn't seen and nieces that I hadn't seen for a long time. It's a long ways from Chapel Hill to Denver. Further, often when they keep cutting things in the airports. Okay, well, I've been thinking a lot about sisters. Especially, of course, since Edie's recent decline and death. We were 4.5 years apart, often 5 school years, because Edie would always have to go up a half year. Her birthday was in February when we would move, and we moved a lot since our father was a Methodist minister. And if you know about that, you know that Methodist ministers move a lot. Edie and I were not always close in that 5 years. And I was always the little sister. Whatever Edie did, though, I always did at first. Soon, though, I discovered that Edie, as the eldest, was the perfect one, who did everything right.
No pressure.
I had to find my own way, and I, like Sarah, was the middle child. I was the pesky little sister who often fought then with the little brother, Davy, and I did not do everything right. So I made a pact with the Baptist preacher's son. And we, together as mean PKs, did things like throwing water balloons on carts from the top of the church. Or, get this, stealing a sign from a gas station that said night service and putting it in front of the English teacher's house. This is while Edie was getting to know Don Collins in the church at the organ or in the church basement.
Hello.
This was all in Monte Vista. Skipping to another topic about sisters. I've recently been watching, and maybe some of you have too, the PBS special on Jane Austen called Miss Austen, which elucidates in a fictional way the relationship between Cassandra Austen, the eldest daughter, sister, with the next in line of 4 daughters, Jane. Only Cassie could be Miss Austen. Jane, the novelist, was always Miss Jane Austen. So Edie was Miss McFadden. I, as younger daughter, had to be Miss Margaret McFadden. It reminds me of the fact, and this many of you probably don't know, that our mother, Glenora English McFadden, was the eldest of 4 daughters. in her family in southern Indiana. So often, Glenora, as the oldest, had to take the position of the man when her father was sent away to the sanitarium with tuberculosis in the 20s. Or when the whole family drove to California from Indiana in 1928. And Glenora was the only other driver besides her father, driving the second car and keeping her father awake when driving over the Nevada desert at night. So, Glenora, our mother, Edie's and my mother, was involved in that four-daughter syndrome. Moving on. This, as many of you know, if you are Coloradan with Hispanic heritage or know about the Hispanic Mexican Dia de los Muertos, this is the week of Days of the Dead, when all Mexico celebrates ancestors and those we've lost in the past year and before. Each day of that week, one category of death is celebrated in the decorations on the ofrenda, the altar. Flowers, foods, drinks, photos, candles, etc. And each day, a category of death. Each day, those dead in accidents, child deaths, older people, deaths by disease, and so on. It's quite amazing when you visit Mexico during this time of year. And each group always has thousands of marigolds, that wonderful orange flower. Thousands of marigolds pointing the way in the cemetery or at a survivor's house. This wasn't in Monte Vista, Colorado, and maybe where you know Colorado best. So this week in North Carolina, I was excited to see bouquets of marigolds in the flower room at Carol Woods CCRC Retirement Center where I live in North Carolina. I chose 4 lovely blooms and now have them in my living room in honor and memory of my big sister Edie, as a kind of ofrenda or altar, as people prepare in their homes or in cemeteries all over the area where Hispanics, and now in North Carolina, 20% of our population are Hispanic. You probably didn't know that. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring the marigolds with me, but I'm sure that many of you have celebrated Dia de los Muertos or know about this here in Colorado. Finally, I want to mention Heifer International, one of the charities that Edie always supported. At the end of World War II, we were living in rural Marshall, Indiana, out in the country, at a wonderful place called the Crow's Nest. And I remember Edie and I getting to see the first small heifer calves on train cars, ready to be taken to the ship to be sent to help starving children in Europe after the war, sponsored by our interdenominational Quaker congregation, pastored by our father, Bill McFadden. Edie and I, were able to reach in and feel the velvety noses of those lovely young animals. Both of us have often told this story. I was 4 years old. Edie was 9. Neither of us would ever forget. And I have given to Heifer International ever since I've had my own income. So I hope that you can remember Edie by giving to Heifer International this year. Thank you all for coming and remembering Edie, who loved Windcrest. I visited her here many times, not as many as I would have liked, because laterly I couldn't get here, but I did get here this time.